everyone, welcome back to Tina Teach Python Projects. Today's lesson we're going to be making a random numbers guessing game. Based on the name, I bet you can figure out that we're going to be reusing a Python library from the previous projects, which is to have a rock, paper, and scissors game, and that is the random library, okay? Random number generator needs the random Python library so we can make random number guesses. That's essentially the project that we're dealing with, okay? And for this one, it is relatively short compared to the previous two and pretty straightforward as well. If you've been following along in the series and you catch on to the basic syntax and logic behind these quizzes and games. We're reusing a common Python library. We're reusing the input syntax. We're reusing the if and else conditional as well as the while loop. And every now and then we have the comparison operator hopping in, and we have, checking whether or not the user input is a string or an integer. Okay, you can make a lot of things. That's the goal of this series with very basic Python syntaxes. And I also want to mention, if my voice sounds a bit off or it's not strong enough, it's because I'm still recovering from a sore throat. Okay, unfortunately, it's going to take more than 2 weeks, so this is the extent of my voice for now. So I hope that doesn't bother you too much. First off, we're going to import the random Python library, and we're going to declare a variable name largest number. Input, please type a number. And then I'm going to go ahead and convert this input into an integer so we can make comparisons later. So if largest number dot is digit, largest number equals to int largest number. Let's go with an if and else condition. If largest number is less or equal to 0, obviously we are not dealing with negatives or fractions or anything like that. So if the user input is less or equal to 0, print, please type a number larger than 0. So by this point, Python would completely end all operations, and we have to run the program once again in order to input our new numbers. Else, print this is not a number. For in the case of a user passing in, a string or a boolean or anything like that, we will also quit in that case because we're staying within scope. Let's create another variable named random number, and we're using the random library for this one. Random integer from 0 to the largest number that the user gives us. Okay, so we're defining a range over here by using the user's previous input. If the user gives us 2, then the largest number within this guessing game will be 2, and the smallest will be 0. Okay, so we have the largest number. Hopefully I'm not misspelling any names. And then we will also create a new variable called guess number, and we're going to make it 0 because we haven't made any guesses so far. While true, guess number increments by 1. User guess equals to input, so this new declaration, okay? Please take a guess. If user guess dot is digit, user guessed equals to int user guess. We're making sure that this is actually a number, okay? And as I've already mentioned in previous lessons, when the input method, this one over here, takes in a user input, that is a string. It doesn't become anything else. If the user puts in 10 or 70, it is a string and it will be processed as a string. So this would come into conflict with this game that we're trying to make, which is a numbers guessing game. And to ensure that nothing goes wrong, we're going to convert the automatic string, right, into an integer, which we can further process appropriately. Else, print this is not a number, and we will continue to give the user, another chance to input the proper number. Now, so we're done. So we're done so far with ensuring that the input is correct, that we've got, the range of possible randomized numbers that the user can then input their guesses into and compared their guess with that range, all right? And finally, we're moving on to the core of the game, which is, allowing the user to guess the random numbers and then giving them feedback on whether or not this guess is correct, too big, too small, or, however it may be. If user guess equals to random number, print very good guess, and then break. Done. Now I'm going to properly format this if conditional right here, because you can only use break within a loop and we need to stay within the while loop, okay? If were to be here, that means that we have exited the loop and is therefore working with a different section of code, which naturally doesn't bode well with the break syntax. I'm going to go in and immediately we don't have any error notification. Moving on, elif user guess is bigger than the random number. We're going to say print this is too big, and then else print this is too small. After we're done with the game, we're going to tell the user of their score and maybe congratulate them. Print, well, not capitalize, sorry. Excellent. No, not excellent. Congratulations. You've finished the game. You got, and then we input in the guess number, guesses. Okay. So let's go through our code one more time. First, we import the random Python library, and then we allow the user to choose, the biggest number that they can guess, first of all, and then we put it in a variable aptly named largest number. So after we have the input of the user for the largest number, which is going to be the maximum number from the range that they can guess, we simply convert it into an integer. So we can make the comparison down here if largest number is less than or equal to 0. Otherwise, this is going to return an error because Python cannot compare between an integer and a string, which is the default value for an for an input method, right? Not an int method. And if the user gives us anything that is less than 0 or equals to 0, because it's hard to have a guessing game if the numbers that you have to guess is between 0 and 0, right? So we're going to say, please print a number that is larger than 0 and quit the program immediately. Therefore, the user have to restart everything and give the appropriate number. If they give anything that is outside of 0 or less than 0, perhaps they give us a string, perhaps they give us a character or a Boolean value, fractionals, whatever. This is not a number and we will quit immediately. Now that is done, we move on to generating the range of numbers that the user can guess from, and we put that into the variable ran, and we put that into the variable random number. Using the random Python library, we generate a random integer ranging from the smallest value, which is 0, and then the largest value, which is the initial number that the user gives us at the beginning of the game, okay? And guess number, just to show the user, their score at the end of the game. And we're going to use a loop, a while loop, as we did with the rock, paper, and scissors. And any conditionals in here must be appropriately spaced. Guess number, increment by 1 if user guess is a digit. Right? Make sure that it is a digit, because input naturally, automatically takes in strings and it doesn't take in anything else. If you give us a Boolean value, if you type 40, 50, 55, doesn't matter what you type in, it is going to translate that automatically into a string, and we don't want that to happen. And we're going to remedy it by putting the user input into user guess and then converting it into an integer. And we have to convert this into an integer for this random guessing number game to work. Otherwise, we're going to say that this is not a number and give the user another chance to give us an appropriate number. Now, if the user happens to guess the number correctly, we can say very good guess. If it's a little bit too big, then we can say it's a bit too big. Otherwise, which there is only one option left, this is too small. After all of that, we say, congratulations, you finished the game. You got, guess number, a given amount of guesses. Depends on the user. Okay, and we're going to try and run this and see how it is. Oh, and I also want to make sure that this is indented properly. Okay, so this if right here is part of this if right here, and this else is separate. Okay, so this is nestled within this first conditional. All right, please type a number. I'm going to go ahead and type 10. Please take a guess. I'm going to say 5. This is too big. Please take a guess. Perhaps is it 2? This is too small. So naturally, we have 3 or 4 left. I'm going to go ahead with 3. This is too small. Once again, I'm going to go with 4. Very good guess. Congratulations, you finished the game. You've got 4 guesses. Okay, so this is how the game works. You can continuously play it until you got the correct answer. Now I'm going to run it again, but this time I'm gonna, mess up my input. I'm gonna say hello. This is not a number. Let's run it again, and I'm gonna say 0. That's not a number, right? Because it's a float. 0. Please type a number larger than 0, okay? And let's try playing this game again, but we're going to expand our range. Take a guess, I'm going to say 15. Too big, 10. Too big, 9. 6. 1. Too big, 0. Okay, so it is actually 0. That's very surprising. I got this is too big way too many times. I had to do 6 guesses. But that's the extent of our projects right now. So I hope that you enjoyed the lesson and managed to find yourself, some interesting project to pass the time with when you're bored. Perhaps you can do a little bit of Python coding to make a fun little game. Okay, perhaps if you don't have Wi-Fi, this would come in handy. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for my next lesson. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Learn today, better tomorrow, and have a wonderful day.